We're not going to let them do that. We are staying in this race. We are in it to win it. And we know that with your help, we will.
That's what I'm talking about, Mark Robinson. That's what I'm talking about. Don't you let them talk about, oh, you gonna cost the party. You gonna lose Trump the election. I'm Mark Robinson. I'm staying in the race. That's what I'm talking about, Mark Robinson. Don't you let them move you off your spot, which they probably could never do. It'd probably take 10, 15 people to move you off your spot. Hi, my name is Reese Waters and I'm troubled. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the page. Now, I covered the nuts and bolts of the Mark Robinson story in part 1. Now, he has a history of controversial statements. Campaigning for lieutenant governor in 2020, he advocated for a complete abortion ban without any sort of exceptions and later expressed regret in 2022 for paying for his now wife to have one in the 80s. Now campaigning for governor, he says he supports a so-called heartbeat bill that would ban abortion when a heartbeat is detected, approximately 6 weeks, with very small exceptions, including the health of the mother. But writing as mini soldier in December of 2010, Robinson said he didn't care about a celebrity having an abortion. Quote, I don't care. I just want to see the video. Is that what you call surveillance footage? Is that what the surveillance footage? Is that what you're looking for? I don't know that genre even exists. With or without pizza. Now, if you're like me, you always kind of laugh when very serious news anchors gotta keep it professional when discussing this kind of thing.
Republicans are positively freaking the heck out. You see, the deadline to withdraw from the state's gubernatorial election is 4 hours from now. The state Republican Party really wants its candidate, Mark Robinson, to drop out. Even by the standards of Donald Trump's hand-picked freaks and geeks, Mark Robinson is a uniquely terrible candidate. He's got a open history of rank anti-Semitism, along with a bunch of other bigoted statements. He's made grotesque anti-abortion ads accusing women of not being responsible enough to keep your skirt down. Just 2 weeks ago, he had to deny a report that he was once a 5 nights a week attendee at multiple porn shops where he often brought a pizza into a private booth with him. All that had been a known quantity. Seemed fine with Trump and his party. And yet, this afternoon, we started to hear this chatter that Republicans, including members of the Trump campaign, had suddenly decided it was time for Robinson to go. And then we learned why. Around 3:30 p.m., CNN dropped a report that Robinson made a series of inflammatory comments on a pornography website's message board more than a decade ago, in which he referred to himself as a, quote, black Nazi and expressed support for reinstating slavery.
Touché. Now, I covered a lot of ground in my prior video, but it was a couple things that I left unaddressed. Some of the very disturbing details, like, did you really not only purchase, construct, but also review a water tower? I had no idea that anybody actually bought these things. I thought that they just had those products just to prove that they were available. I didn't know people actually had them in their homes. Then there's Ashley Madison, which that is the gift that keeps on giving, is it not? I mean, really, I remember when the Ashley Madison leak came out, I was living in Connecticut, which ended up, I believe, being the state most represented on Ashley Madison, which was surprising to a lot of people. I know you're like, oh, well, I could see that being very popular in places where the people are noticeably attractive, like Southern California or Miami or Winnipeg, Canada. If you know, you know. But if you lived in Connecticut, then it made perfect sense why Ashley Madison would have been so popular for a completely different reason. And if you know, you know. And Ashley Madison not only is a gift that keeps on giving, it continues to give, because with the news that Mark Robinson was up on Ashley Madison, also came the news that Chris Rufo was up on Ashley Madison. And don't you love that? Don't you love when things just come full circle. My man caught a stray for no reason other than Mark Robinson was that sloppy on the message boards. Not to mention the fact that apparently these two gentlemen paid a monthly fee to talk to each other. I mean, look at the number of bots that were on Ashley Madison. I can see now why Mark Robinson was on Adult Friend Finder. That makes perfect sense because he clearly needed a friend as an adult if he's going to pay money just to chat with Chris Rufo on Ashley Madison. That actually makes a lot of sense. Now let's talk about the fact that some of Mark Robinson's most offensive, most racist comments came on an adult message board. Those people didn't even come for that. They definitely did not come for your thoughts on Martin Luther King. They didn't come to hear about the March on Washington or President Obama. And they certainly didn't come to hear about Black Panther or good times. They came for a good time, but not that kind of good time. He was a level of lonely that he was trying to start regular conversations with people in the message board under the videos. Now, of all the things that I was able to discuss, because I did mention that CNN said that many of his comments were very lewd and they could only present some of them. A lot of them were available on social media and they were just straight up nasty. I would actually like to pinpoint one particular strain of comment that was made about my man's wife's sister. So you just turn all the way state's evidence about your wife's sister. Now, I have no idea if your wife's sister is married or what her situation is, but I know she did nothing to end up on the Nude Africa message board. I know she didn't ask for that. I definitely know for a fact. I'm also curious, who are you expecting to get your back right now? Because not only have you gone on record with your thoughts on a great number of things, you called out your wife for either being complicit or being absent-minded about your rampant cheating, but also brought up her sister. So given that she's supposed to be the foundational building block of your support right now, how is that going? I would love to know, because you certainly can't expect your MAGA friends to get your back. This is what it was looking like beforehand.
Thoughts on Mark Robinson? I like Mark. Again, I know there's people, that I don't know, he's too Bombay, he's too that. Man, we need that right now. I think, he was going to win the North Carolina primary, and I think, the Democrats probably funding that because, they want to believe that they can beat him or whatever it is. I was with him a couple of weeks ago in where the hell was I? I don't know. I did like a whole North Carolina tour, and I was he's a fun guy. I was in a hunting duck camp with him last year. So yeah, good guy, funny guy, not afraid to say what he's thinking, which I think we need more of. So I actually hope he wins that. That could be fun.
And this is what it's looking like now.
North Carolina, which is a big target for the Democrats. And we just found out an hour ago that the lieutenant governor there, Mark Robinson, who's running for governor,
never heard of him,
who Donald Trump called Martin Luther King on steroids.
And let me help refresh your memory, Jesse Waters. Even J.D. Vance wouldn't comment about the Mark Robinson scandal, and he's never met a topic that he won't try and butcher.
Hi, Senator Vance. Do you have any reaction to Mark Robinson news? Senator Vance?
Huh? What's that, Jamel? Well, I haven't seen any, so let me be the first. Also, as an aside, Walmart promoting baby oil at a time like this is particularly nasty work. Now, while everybody's doing the Noah Lyles to get as far away from Mark Robinson as humanly possible, some I'll accept and some I won't. Like former Governor Roy Cooper, perfectly fine for him to make these comments because he wasn't rocking with Mark Robinson in the before times. Jasmine Crockett, y'all know she has never met MAGA nonsense she won't call out. And you know what, by the way, I have a new video about her just destroying Project 2025 and President Trump on the House floor. Make sure you check that out.
This election is the best example of why y'all are so afraid of diversity, equity, and inclusion, because then you can't have a simple-minded, underqualified white man somehow end up ascending. Instead, you've got to pay attention to the qualified black woman.
There was this statement from Martin Luther King III. Which is extremely consistent with Martin Luther King III in the before times.
North Carolina Lieutenant Governor Mark Robinson has repeatedly mocked my father. But it's not the petty insults that bother me. It's his outright rejection of the civil rights movement my father and so many others lived and died for. Robinson called the Greensboro lunch counter protest a ridiculous premise and said so many freedoms were lost. As my father said, nothing is more dangerous than sincere ignorance and conscientious stupidity.
But as for you, Maga, no, he's yours. He is yours. You cannot run away from this Maga. You got to carry this election to term. Yes, no, this is your baby. Mark Robinson didn't land on GOP. GOP landed on Mark Robinson.
The Constitution is effectively subsidizing their lifestyle of trolling and golfing and long risks about sharks and electrocution. And that's how you wind up with Donald Trump at the top of the ticket. Again, the Republicans are the clear favorite to win the Senate, despite fielding some truly awful candidates. And the Republican Party can run terrible candidates, and it can lose the popular vote by 3 million, as Donald Trump did in 2016, which is not a small amount. It's like over a percentage point, and still stumble backwards into power. And if there is any silver lining here at all, it is that this massive dysfunction really has cost Republicans some otherwise very winnable down ballot races in cycle after cycle after cycle, which do not have the benefit of the Electoral College, right? A statewide race and a Senate race, for instance. So the Arizona Republican Party, for example, has effectively collapsed at the statewide level over the past half decade, like improbably, in large part due to candidate quality issues. Carrie Lake, who lost the gubernatorial race there 2 years ago, refuses to concede that she is not currently the governor, which she is very much not, seems hell-bent to continue that trend as she runs for the Senate this November. North Carolina's upcoming governor's race is much less competitive than you might expect, thanks to this man, Mark Robinson. Now, I don't think it's super likely that Mark Robinson, who, again, in this article with 6 sources, including a named source, said that he would go frequent this shop 5 nights a week, often with pizza, that he will win his election. But this is an example, again, of the Republican instinct to nominate these kinds of guys, the most extreme antisocial candidates. And they have to be defeated at the ballot box over and over and over and over and over and over and over again, because the only way it will disappear, they keep trying it. As Jonathan Martin put it in Politico this week, if Republicans want to win, they need Trump to lose big. Trump will never concede defeat, no matter how thorough his loss. Yet the more decisively Vice President Kamala Harris wins the popular vote and Electoral College, the less political oxygen he'll have to reprise his 2020 antics. And importantly, the faster Republicans can begin building a post-Trump party.
The same day that this came out, I was planning to release a video about the sheriff in Ohio that covers Springfield posting this. When people ask me what's going to happen if the flip-flopping, laughing hyena wins, I say write down all the addresses of the people who had her signs in their yards. So when the illegal human locusts, which she supports, need places to live, will already have the addresses of their new families who supported their arrival. Now, my favorite kind of racist post is where you can go multiple choice on what was the most offensive. And also the same day that this came out, it was revealed that journalist Olivia Nuzzi was now on leave after having her affair with RFK Jr. exposed. This Olivia Nuzzi. It sounds like I'm gonna have to do a whole nother video on the impropriety of the media. I mean, like I just did the Russia thing, and I covered Sinclair, and I cover the New York Post and how it is I got to do a whole nother media expose on your bias. MAGA ain't been this sloppy since the whole Kristi Noem, Corey Lewandowski, Hope Hicks situation. Or was it the Hope Hicks, Rob Porter, Brad Parscale situation? Hope Hicks was busy. Or was it the Marjorie Taylor Greene, Zangief thing? Maybe it was Lauren Boebert playing hide the playbill.
You write in the book, Trump has an affinity for pretty women. He'd rather have a pretty woman with no experience around than a qualified, less attractive woman. You're talking about Hope Hicks there.
Yes, I am talking about Hope Hicks. I find it very interesting. You know, people say interesting things about me, but Hope Hicks, who had a relationship with a married man, Corey Lewandowski, that's been well documented. Hope Hicks that continued to have relationships
Both
with
of them
people.
have denied that, we should point out.
Oh, okay. And then she had a relationship with Rob Porter, a man who is alleged to have been beaten both of his wives. And this is the person that he brought into the White House to be a communicator for him. And I just think that it's interesting that people haven't really examined the fact that he would rather have someone who has absolutely no political experience and has no knowledge of politics at all because she's pretty. And I'm someone who served in 2 tours of duty. This is my 2nd time in the White House, and he calls me a dog.
And that's not to mention what we got going on today, MAGA. This is what y'all do. You know what? Speaking of Laura Loomer, I was actually intrigued by this whole situation because if I really wanted to sink Donald Trump's chances in the 2024 election, I would have a complete racist, sexist, borderline inhumane troll be his main advisor leading up to the debate. The kind of person that would feed him info about Haitians eating dogs and cats. And then I would have him roam around with her and be seen with her in the aftermath while she continues to say and post extremely offensive things. You know what would be even better is if we had like a person running for governor in one of these battleground states that had a history of extremely racist, sexist, anti-Semitic, and homophobic stuff all over the internet. And then have it exposed that he was posting about all of his dalliances on adult message boards 50 days out from the election. Now, Mark Robinson, while I know that just about everything that you have said and done is anti-democratic, either the party or the concept of democracy, are you a plant? There's another thing that we need to address too. Let's go back to Jessica Tarlov.
Josh Stein was likely to win that race anyway. If they get Mark Robinson to drop out, his name is still on the ballot. But this makes North Carolina even more in play for Democrats. And this, again, is evidence of the type of candidates that Donald Trump thinks are good for the country. Martin Luther King on steroids, someone who says he's a black Nazi.
But he would obviously.
But what?
Let's take the obvious here.
Yeah.
Do you think Trump actually knew this guy was on porn sites?
My point is that Donald Trump likes anyone who likes him, and he doesn't bother to do the work.
That's called being human.
No, it's not. A lot of people like me who I don't like in return.
Like who?
Like,
tell us now.
I don't want to name names.
Go ahead. Let's start with Fox and Friends.
I think that's an excellent point. Now, I have very frequently highlighted MAGA's poor comprehension skills and the cognitive dissonance that it takes to exist in that space, but how this, the guy who you feel like projects strength, can so obviously and easily be baited and influenced by just about anybody. Kamala did it at the debate. Even Biden did it at the debate, and his performance was so bad, they made him leave the race. The Obamas did it from the DNC. I'm pretty sure I could bait Trump from my living room.
Look at how easy it is for crazy people to get something from Trump. You see, Mark Robinson's been gum under the table for a long time. Like, you can ask the Republicans in North Carolina and they'll tell you that this guy's just been a complete total basket case. But the reality is, Mark wanted to become governor. So he felt like the best opportunity for him to get past the Republican primary is to get the Trump endorsement. So what does he do? He sucks on Trump's thumb. Trump loves it. He gives him the endorsement and he wins the Republican primary. The formula's pretty simple. If you flatter Trump, he will give you something. He's easy to manipulate. And that is exactly why he's dangerous.
But this is the guy who you want negotiating America's deals. Oh, Mark Robinson has a statement?
My opponent is at it again. You all have seen the half-truths and outright lies of Josh Stein on these ads over and over again. And now a story leaked by him to CNN is appearing now. Let me reassure you, the things that you will see in that story, those are not the words of Mark Robinson.
No, those are the words of many soldier. And that is Mark Robinson.
You know my words, you know my character, and you know that I have been completely transparent in this race and before.
I know your words and I know your character, which is exactly why it was so easy to believe all of this. I will give you this one point though. You have been extremely transparent. Yeah, you have been extremely transparent. Going all the way back till you was 14.
Folks, this race right now, our opponents are desperate to shift the focus here from the substantive issues and focus on what you are concerned with to salacious tabloid trash. We cannot allow that to happen. And folks, we've seen this type of stuff in the past as well. Clarence Thomas famously once said he was the victim of a high-tech lynching.
Ooh, if there's anybody who you probably don't want to bring up right now when you're surrounded by scandal, probably Clarence Thomas. Like you probably don't want to go with that one. You got to find another black conservative. I'm sorry. Did you say lynching as in slavery? The thing that you want to bring back? Is that what you just said?
Clarence Thomas famously once said he was the victim of a high-tech lynching. Well, it looks like Mark Robinson is too, by a man who refuses to stand on stage and debate me about the real issues that face you. Instead, they want to focus on salacious tabloid lies.
He probably doesn't want to debate you to protect the women in his life. Yeah, I know he wants the support, but given everything that we know, probably best to keep them as far away from you as possible.
We're not going to let them do that. We are staying in this race. We are in it to win it. And we know that with your help, we will.
That's what I'm talking about, Mark Robinson. That's what I'm talking about. Don't you let them talk about, oh, you going to cost the party. You going to lose Trump the election. I'm Mark Robinson. I'm staying in the race. That's what I'm talking about, Mark Robinson. Don't you let them move you off your spot, which they probably could never do. It'd probably take 10, 15 people to move you off your spot. Before you go, I did want to ask, was your review of this compression V-neck legitimate? Just because I was interested. Last night I was looking for some compression V-necks, and I know if it stayed tight on you, then it'd probably stay tight on me forever. So I just trying to get your thoughts on that. Thank you guys so much for watching the video, and especially those of you that have liked and subscribed to the page. Did y'all know I had a website? I know, it's kind of old-fashioned these days. Yes, I have a website, reesewaters.com. There you'll find my most recent work, but also my past work if you want to know a little bit more about me. You'll also find a portal where you could sign up for my newsletter. You could also sign up by sending me an email at reese@reesewaters.com. You could also send me any suggestions for ideas, something I need to take a look at, or you just want to say hello. And by the way, if you go to the website now, you'll find a little something special. That's right, we got merch. There's mugs there, there's t-shirts there, there's hats there, repping street politics, troubled waters, and of course, racists of the week. Where would we be without racists of the week? I don't know that I would have any content.